What's that theory on Murphy's Law?
Jason.
Can't go wrong with aluminum.
Alright, so I also want to pass around this flash drive. It has a few PDFs on it. One of the PDFs is a guide to a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about here. There's also a study guide for Sec Plus. So if you want to get your Security Plus certification, there's a study guide on here. Just plug in some little things to walk away with something.
Wait, is this a test?
Question.
You're kidding, right? Yeah, it's not. It's, I promise. You can trust me. Famous words. Bob will vouch for me.
Whoa!
That's what the guy that asked me for gas
He'll do it
money.
for, he's always the canary in the coal mine and stuff. He'll plug this in his computer first. No, it's just a harmless PDF, I promise. That's all it is. But yeah, y'all guys pass it around if you want some of that.
Last time someone told me I won't go someplace.
Oh, wow. DIS, I'm like, oh my God. The trick is, this come back and go like, see, you guys did not do what you're supposed to do. You know, they don't really have.
Josh, I plugged the flash drive in, now it's telling me I have to pay somebody money to get access.
Alright, well I guess we can get started. We have what, an hour? Is that right? Should we'll get through this. Really a lot of this is going to be kind of concepts, which is why I'm giving you a guide, flash drives, if you want to go back and do some of this stuff in your environment, it makes it a little easier to do it. When I made this class, it was because there's so much like just taken care of on the edge, firewalls, all these things, email security. But this is designed to stop lateral movement. So like if somebody does get into the environment and they move around and do things, so this is kind of designed to stop that systematic. You can do it for free. That's what you have to do.
Small files.
Yeah, they should take like no time at all. It did.
That's why I thought it was a camera.
Yeah. So first, the resource. Is everybody familiar with the MITRE ATT&CK framework? Okay, so it's a good way to understand the tactics that bad guys are going to use to compromise your network. So you can kind of flip through and see these different things and then develop a security plan around it. It just helps. And a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about stopping is going to be in probably, I don't know if you can see this, but there's columns like reconnaissance, resource development, initial access. But we're going to try to stop privilege escalation, some of those things in lateral movement, and also stopping the spread of ransomware. We'll kind of talk about that as well. How many files? 5?
Oh, I didn't do something right.
Just leave it in there until it says all files uploaded.
I think there's some people in here trying to get me to quit at 70, so I don't make it to 80.
You've already retired twice, right?
Oh, and I put the PowerPoint there too, so if you want to access the PowerPoint, it's in that drive. Oh, and I didn't introduce myself. My bad. I just assumed. Josh Cruz with DIS. So I do the NAPSCAN LAN field support for Central and North Central Arkansas. So if one of those schools call DIS for support, they can come on site with me for that area. Anyway, that's neat. So there's also the lesser known MITRE DEFEND. It is still kind of in like a, just call it a beta stage, but it's not as granular yet as MITRE ATT&CK is. But again, it's kind of a way to develop a strategy for protecting your network. And you can drill down through this stuff. You can find this easily just Googling MITRE ATT&CK, MITRE DEFEND.
Alright, sorry. I didn't think all
Yeah, I should have more than one flash drive. That's like that. So
Come on, folks.
Parking lot. I dropped a few earlier. So when we're thinking about security and securing our network and what we're doing with the information we have, it's always good to keep the CIA triad in mind. So that's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality is, only authorized users should have the ability to access or modify data. That's the confidentiality portion of it. Integrity, so data should be maintained in its correct state, and that would be like message signing. So when stuff goes over the wire, it's encrypted, and you can't, get to it to change the message or modify things that you shouldn't have the ability to do. And then availability, which is what most of us really, that's like our job as we think about IT, are the resources and services available to our users. That's like your primary focus, and oftentimes security can kind of come behind that. But if you keep the CIA triad in mind when you're implementing these things, it'll help you be more secure in your day-to-day job. I think it's important to mention. All right, so we're going to assume that the edge is protected, right? It's perfectly impenetrable. We have our state-provided ASA, or maybe you have your own firewall you manage. You don't have a lot of public-facing servers, or you do have them. They're up to date. They're all they're great. But bad guys still find a way in, right? Like we can be as protected as we want to on the edge, but all it takes is a user clicking on a bad link, or just they're just allowing them through the door. So this class is about what happens when that takes place. So a user downloads a malicious program on their computer, bad guys in the network. Are they siloed on an island, or can they move around easily? And we hope that if you have an event, it's just on one single computer because they can't get to the things. That's what we're really trying to achieve with the stuff we're going to talk about. And a lot of it is just security hygiene. It's stuff that we already know we should be doing. Not reusing passwords, which is a massive one. Making strong passwords, and just updates and backups of patch management. Making sure things are updated. And if you do get something corrupted, you can have a good backup of it that's air gapped and off the network. So we'll talk about passwords for a minute. So this is a nice little site. Seems like it. People are always like, oh, that's a scam. They want your passwords, but that's not what it is. So it's a password testing tool in Bitwarden, and so we've been trained forever and ever and ever to do lowercase, uppercase, special character, a number sign, change it every 90 days, right? Like we've kind of been trained to make passwords, and we've been told what complex passwords are. Like technically, by Microsoft standards, or at least the one they've had forever, capital P, @ SSWORD, exclamation point, right? Like technically that is complex, but it will take 1 second to crack because it's a super common password. And not only that, you might get, you could do something else with it but it's like length. Like ultimately length is important. So my example I use for a secure password is all lowercase. Chick-fil-A is ordained by God. And all lowercase, but it takes centuries to track because it's not in a common word list. It's not in a dictionary. It's not going to be a pre-computed hash that these people are trying to match. It's very unique, and it's long, and it's easy to remember, and it's easily typed.
Except if we all start using it.
Yeah, right. And by the way, this is not my password. I don't use this. Or use something else. But you think use like a song lyric, or a line from your favorite poem if you like poetry. So whatever it is, but it's unique because what will happen? Let's say we do it every 90 days. Okay, so I'm gonna push back publicly on something that was said by the state system. It was saying, oh, they had it set the password never expired. It was upset by that. Well, if you have a really strong, long password, it's okay for it not to expire because it takes centuries to break. somebody in your school will have capital G, Pirates, number sign, 2023. Or, yeah, right. Or number 1. And then in 90 days, it's now number 2. And then number 3. Or, they'll do the season and the year. And so it trains people to make these bad passwords. So if we have a really big school like Hot Springs, how many users do you guys have? Over 2,000. Okay, so over 2,000. If I have a list of all their users, and I just try, autumn 2000, number sign 2023 against all their users, it's gonna get a hit, right? But if everybody were using long passphrases like Chick-fil-A for Name My God, it would be, well, it wouldn't work. So that's just my spill on passwords. I know I'm butting heads with the head chief there, but that's how. You guys have any opinions on passwords?
This says a year.
Do I?
This says a year.
This is a year, so change it every year. I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. Once a year, because again, if you have to change it too often, people just use the same password, tapping the number. And any comments or questions about passwords? One of my favorite topics.
One of my favorite thing with passwords is to do Dr. Seuss rhymes.
Yeah.
Like something silly that, like, it's wet outside, but that would never fly. Something silly and stupid.
I knew a tech that their password used to be welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger man, take your order. That was her password. So secure. Yes, you have to throw some space in there. If the whatever service you're using allows for spaces, absolutely. Yeah, that makes that 10 times stronger. And you can mix in uppercase, lowercase, like that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying ultimately length is the most important part of the password. So 14 or more characters. And the reason why is because the way password crafting works, if you can't use a dictionary, you can't use all these other methods, you just simply go through and go 0000001, nope, 0000002, like that, through all the ASCII characters. Again, if it's 14 characters, it takes centuries, it's a long time. And until we get to like quantum computing and stuff, which we're not quite there with password cracking, as far as I know. But anyway, that's my spill on password. That took about 15 minutes. Oh, and another part, so they're not reusing passwords is because of credential stuffing. You guys heard of credential stuffing? Yeah, so you shaking your heads. Credential stuffing simply is, I'm gonna go find a data leak with Lisa's credentials, right? So I'll find Lisa's email and she's used, KittyCat 2023 as a password. Well, now I'm gonna go find everything that she signed up for, all her different accounts, and I'm gonna try to use that username and password combination. So you hopefully will get a hit, right? So that's why you don't go around using the same password over and over and over, which our users do. Do I?
They just changed the number to
Yeah, right.
1, changed it to 2, changed it to 3,
Exactly right.
6, which not all of them.
Anyone else need this?
Yeah, I forgot what all of them on there. Just go easy stuff. Yeah, just like
And files on it now.
Some
The
fire
part
markers.
number should be 4.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Alright.
Whatever I had, y'all got.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that was probably the fun. I didn't even think about this. Not the STDs.
I'm not gonna lie, it did occur to me, swap that with a rubber ducky and just see what he would.
Right, yeah, or somebody adds a file to the flash drive. like I should be like, hey, there should only be 5 files. If you get in there 6, there's a problem. Somebody's so.
Oh man, I should have thought.
Yeah.
This is.
Was it good for y'all too?
Are we being recorded?
Oh yeah. They're not gonna fire me, I'll just go home.
Yeah. Well, I got 24 years until I can retire. I need this job. Alright, so the machine's been compromised. Our secretary clicked on a link and so he's in our network. And by the way, this is like a really, really simplified version of what could happen. Like, I don't want to dig into all the hash dump, which, when you log into a local machine or you join a machine to the domain, it does store the hash in a SAM file from Windows, which we're going to talk about in a little bit in a second. But more important, it's a hash dump. So all that means is he now has all the passwords that are on that computer. Lucky for him, a domain admin has logged into that computer to probably join it to the network or something like that. So he's immediately got the keys to the kingdom pretty quickly. So he doesn't have to even crack the password. So it can be a really strong one, but since it's domain level domain admin, he can just pass the hash. He never has to crack it. He can just use the hash string to authenticate to things. So he's now moving all around the network, and he can start doing ransomware or extracting data or whatever it is. So could we have stopped that scenario, that super fast blitzkrieg deal where he just landed on a computer, got domain admin, took it over, done it in 10 minutes? Like, could we have stopped it, slowed it down? Because by the way, you're never going to 100% stop an attacker. Like, they will find a way in with enough time, money, resources. If they want it bad enough, they'll get in there. So which is why we need to put in appropriate controls, right? Like, as a school, you don't want to buy a $20,000 safe and keep $500, right? So like, we don't need to be at the level of Homeland Security with our defenses. That's unrealistic. But we need to at least take care of the low-hanging fruit and make ourselves secure. So anyway, so if we limited the use of domain admin accounts, so for this example, and I know a lot of schools have done this, I've seen it, joining a computer to the domain, they just use domain admin account to do it, and now that domain account password is stored as a hash on the computer forever, and that password never changes, right? Like most of you, if you've been at your school for a long time, you've had the same domain admin account with the same password, and it's just sitting there in NTLM version 2 hashing format, which is easy to crack. So anyway, we limited the use of domain admin accounts to make a service account to join users to the domain instead. Something that only has that permission. That would have stopped that in its tracks. Like, he wouldn't have that. He'd have to figure out some other way to get domain admin credentials. Understand the authentication methods. So like I just said, when you log in locally, so log into the machine itself or join a computer to the domain, the hashing algorithm used is really weak. Whereas if you're authenticating through the domain, it's typically Kerberos in Windows environment, is what we're going to use, which is not foolproof. It can definitely be exploited. I mean, there's several methods to exploit it, but not in our scenario. And you can turn on SMB version 3 for all your servers hosting files and for their clients. So what this is going to be, I think if you have 2019 or newer, it's on by default. SMB 3 is, but it will sign messages and like encrypt them. So the client and the server both have to agree and say, hey, this is really me, this is also me. It's like more secure. Whereas we'll see later in the slides, SMB version 1, for example, is all clear text, and it's like, so doing those things, kind of improves our posture a little bit. And I'm really proud of my animations, by the way.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So domain admin usage, we should implement the additional environment and then disable that account, because there's not a lot of things you can do or that you should be doing with domain admin. It's not needed. So if you need to change FSMO roles or like demote a DC, like there's some things that doesn't happen very often at all that needs domain admin. Anything else needs like an enterprise admin. So you need to be like, principal of least privilege. So our daily drivers don't need to be domain admins, don't need to be enterprise admins. We should be normal, regular users, and then have accounts built out for specific purposes. I know that can get a little hairy because it's like, now I have 15 different accounts to keep up with. Like, I do understand that, but try to be as secure as we can. So real quick on Kerberos versus NTLM, chances are you're absolutely using Kerberos if you're Windows environment. So Server 2000 was the first Windows server. this is going to be on your firewall. Just checking that it's for domain and private only, not public. And what that's going to do is going to ensure that only people in your environment can use it. So you have to be an authenticated domain user to even get to file shares and to print and do things like that to have access to it. Which, by the way, speaking of internal firewalls, the Windows Firewall tool is a really good way to stop lateral movement. You have it on your clients and your servers. And we always like make fun of Windows Defender and that kind of stuff, but Windows Firewall itself is really good at stopping movement. I mean, it can be like you can get around, like I said, enough time, knowledge, and stuff. You can defeat all of this stuff, but I'll say just kind of an example. I teach a class on vulnerability scanning, and if you have the internal firewalls on, it's hard to get a good scan because it blocks everything. Like you're trying to enumerate ports and see what's on them, and it just won't let it. So it's a really good thing to have on in your environment. Turn it all on, and that might break some stuff because if you've not, if you just had it off forever and just let everything just kind of work how it is, turn it on, poke the holes you need. It can be a process, but it's important to have it turned on.
Can you scan for the particular ports or holes that you need to open up before you turn it on, like you do the other part? See,
Yeah, so if you have them on, you can scan and see what all's open, what's running on them, that kind of stuff, and then you would know once you turn them
is that
on.
what you're doing at my place?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So encryption versus signing. So encryption makes it difficult to eavesdrop. So if they do, they're sniffing your traffic and they get a hold of it, it's encrypted. They can't read the message. So whatever it is, somebody's trying to query a file, get its contents, whatever, they will be able to see that. And then signing protects the data integrity. So if it's tampered with in transit, the hashes won't match. Right? So we're talking about hashing. So if I'm transferring a file and during the transfer, if something got injected into it or whatever, it changes the hash of the file, gets on the other end, it won't go through troops. So that's part of this protecting against ransomware, where they're trying to, if you have your firewalls on and you're doing signing and encryption on SMB, it makes ransomware a lot harder to get deployed. And so this is your policy for turning this on, and I've not seen any issues turning this on in schools, and Daniel's done with me too. He hasn't seen it either. Requiring this signing and encryption, it's not broken anything, so it's pretty safe to do. It just adds an extra layer of security. All right, so what have we done so far? So we've talked about credentials. We hopefully will implement principal police privilege, so only assigning users the appropriate permissions they need and not more. So library superintendent don't need domain admin credentials. Even though the superintendent's like, I'm an administrator, you don't need domain admin, which some of them have it. I've seen it a lot. So we've disabled SMB version 1, we enabled encryption signing, and we've restricted it to our domain users. So we're off to a good start. So the rest of this is going to be stopping man-in-the-middle attacks, which is just like one of the fun parts for me. I think it's kind of cool. So LLMNR, link layer multicast name resolution. I'll talk more about these as I get to the portion. They have their own. So IPv6, which most of us have that off by default. It's kind of like a group policy tool once you have it turned off with clients, so they won't answer IPv6 requests. administrator says, I do, that's me, I have that file, right? So then your workstation will try to authenticate to get to that file, so you'll get prompted with a, authentication page, username, password, it gets passed through in TLS version 2 hashing. So, to reiterate, I want this file, DNS says it doesn't exist, I say, well, does anybody have it? So I'm gonna use LLNR as a, link layer, so does anybody on my, VLAN or whatever have this, file? And if I'm listening as an attacker, I can say that's me. So I'm masquerading as that DNS server. Hey, I'm that file. Here it is. So that makes sense. Got some head nods. That's good. So stopping LLMNR is pretty easy. It's just a group policy. You just turn off multicast name resolution, and that's in that network hardening guide on the USB. So if you want to do that, it's in there. So DebiPad, and I'll be honest, this is one that I have trouble wrapping my head around. It's like the more complicated one of these. But basically, so it's the web proxy auto discovery protocol, and it's used to find URL of files that contain network configs, sort of pack files. And if it's automatic. First, what happens is it goes out to, it wants DHCP first, wants DHCP to tell me the web proxy details to get to like a web page. That's what it does first. But then it goes down to DNS. If there's no DNS entry, it goes all the way down, looks for root DNS on the web. But the reason these proxies exist is for like segmenting network traffic and stuff. So like on the back end of a web page, they're going to have maybe a requirement that you have a proxy to connect to them. So it's like load balancing. It's complicated. Do your own research on it because it's kind of above mine. If somebody has a better explanation about WPAD, feel free. But what I do know about it is it can be used to as a man-in-the-middle attack. So it can be abused in that way. And to stop it, you can add a DNS entry for WPAD to specify what proxy server to use instead of allowing it to automatically look for it. Or you could do your own web proxy server with DHCP option 252. So again, this one gets kind of in the weeds. It's a little above me, but I did take and give this presentation to a bunch of like professional pen testers and stuff. And some of the things they told me about man-in-the-middle attacks and what they find successful was this LLMNR, WPAD, IPv6. So the reason I'm discussing it, like that's what they said they typically use to move around networks, basically. So disable IPv6. It's been standard practice for a long time when DIS sets up your stuff is to disable IPv6. It shouldn't be needed. I don't think anybody in here is running IPv6 locally, right? Use an ISP. A lot of times you use IPv6 now, but for your local environment, you do not need IPv6. Most of us are IPv4. Easy to disable. It's just a group policy for your client devices and then for your servers. You just do it on the network card. It's kind of the easiest way. And it's just because it's another man-in-the-middle attack. It's going to be somebody is saying that they can answer IPv6 requests, and because Microsoft prefers IPv6, by the way. So if you don't have it off, Microsoft prefers it. So that's why we turn it off. Because it's going to ask for an IPv6 address first, and if I'm an attacker saying I use Apple. It's now an essential protocol in a modern network. Like I said, Apple TVs, smart boards, all your IoT devices use MDNS. So you can filter the inbound traffic on UDP port 5353, and that'll stop some of that. You can turn off the MDNS casting for Windows, so your Windows laptops and stuff will be doing those multicasts. You can do VLANs and do access controls on the VLANs. So there's ways to segment this out, but you still have to have it. You can't just completely eliminate MDNS because then again your Apple TVs won't work. And this part is actually not in that network hardening guide. My bad. So wrap it up. Protect credentials. Use strong authentication. Tighten up SMB. Get rid of old layer 2 name resolution protocols like LLNR and DNS. Any questions, comments?
Okay, like, where's that guy at?
Yeah, there's some other stuff on there too. So like there's a Security Plus study guide. So if you ever want to go for your cert, there's a study guide on there. Some other things. So yeah, I need it back. Yeah,
We are back.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we ended a little early, so we're on it.
While you're auditing, SMB one for usage, have you ever come across, network monitoring things?
I'm not. No. Yeah. No, so we've turned it off, Daniel and I, and it should free.
And also, what version SMB, the lowest that supports encryption?
Version 2. So yeah, with version 2 you have to turn it on, but 29. So server 10 2019 has SMB version 3 by default, which encrypts the signs. But yeah, version 2 is seamless.
So I found, and you might have already discovered this one now, a while back, he was asking about Harrison, I guess, all the backup system was still there. So I found out about it.
I don't know.
It's actually the city of Harrison.
Hey, Daniel, that's a good question. So, is there a specific role you can think of, like a predefined role in Windows AD that will give just domain join permissions on an account? Or is it like you have to specify it?
I really don't know.
Yeah. Probably have to just create a user and go give it permissions, probably.
Well, now, there was a problem I ran into at Carlisle that certain version of Windows, like Pro and up, standard users could add their personal computer to the domain without being a domain
Yeah, I think
admin.
they did 10 of them, right?
I think 10.
I think 10, yeah. So standard user has 10 that they can join to the domain.
And there is a group policy or a setting somewhere in Active Directory to disable that functionality. Yeah, I had a computer science teacher that was like, hey, I hope you don't mind, I joined my personal computer to the. So that's where that random computer came from.
Yeah, and I turned on Azure in hybrid.
Yep.
And apparently kids can log in computers at their house and put their computers on my Azure network.
Oh, no.
Now they didn't get it right, but there were all these computers, you know, like what the heck? And it was Johnny or Susie had logged in with the Mansfield login in Azure or Windows on the computer, I guess, for something for Christmas.
Yeah.
Boom, they were in my network.
Just push all your policies to that device and they'll hook to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want them, so I didn't, I didn't push any policies.
Good old
but
default Windows security.
They didn't show back up in my local AD, they were just out there in Azure.
Yeah.
City of Harrison. I've heard more about the city of Harrison than the last.
They turned it off, so really.
Yeah, I guess too, the people we hang out with at night.
I'm not gonna ask that.
Harrison. It's either a setting in Active Directory or it's a group policy that you can apply to your domain controllers.
What's your opinion on
It-
password?
it's
My
been
teacher's
like,
computer's run Windows Pro.
yeah, it's been about 5 years since I've had to think about it. Let me see if I can find it on Google search.
Twice a year, just so we have that peace of mind that if there is a compromised account, at least it's gonna get reset once.
What's your minimum?
For standard users, right now, it's
I understand.
my recommendation.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, sometimes something happens.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. That's what I'm saying. That's why, like, if you're gonna set it to not expire, you have to make a minimum.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, so if you are gonna go that route that I'm talking about, that is worth mentioning. You do have to enforce that minimum requirement of 14. Because, yeah, if you said it never expired, it's taken care of.
Thinking about using some third-party software that can check that user passwords. Compromise list.
Oh, that's, oh yeah, that's,
Yeah, they have to force it.
Oh, that one thing that's like-
So
Yeah.
if it goes to reuse a password or their password shows up in a compromised list, you can force it to
We don't end up
log
in
in.
the ball.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah, but it is like, you know,
Yeah,
ultimately,
that's the problem.
it is like strong passwords, good kind of cyber hygiene, updating your software.
Yep.
That's
Hot now.
like day one stuff. That's what's that day one stuff is protecting your accounts.
looks like they can.
I had to go buy
the other side.
Surface charger.
So,
Mine. Quit. It fluctuated. I thought I was doing something
do
wrong.
an audit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you are my school.
Yeah.
I'll correct that.
I'll put in the tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are some things that I know that probably have not been changed on my computers, and I probably just need to.
Users and administrators for domain administrators.
Well, I mean, just to see what's
And
going
those
on.
use the ability of
First I said,
permission
yeah,
to change
it's
your
not
network.
Bad enough to get doing this.
Or not
Official
restricted,
audit
like
from a
so.
private company.
That's why I use
Sort of
So it doesn't lock out.
Because I thought, right, I didn't want you to think I was fine.
Like, protect your email and flood this kind of conversation. We'll go through,
I'm gonna buy them.
umbrellas,
I've had
what
one
we
before.
DNS, and one race things, kind of like stock a bit. We'll go through and come to permissions and AD and look at some of these things I talked about. So it's kind of like we would call it like a security health check.
Yes.
Instead
I
of
mean, but still, I mean, I can still also like put that in disaster recovery and say, hey, I've at least been audited on some of the stuff.
yeah, and I'll do a vulnerability scan too.
For action.
For
You ever see,
done.
David, the state comes to mandate
So,
they're trying
do
to.
it for
Just
I think it's coming this year we're focusing on trying to do multi-factor and a few other things.
And I got
Yeah, I think
machine accounts,
Three boys.
which
edit, accept zero.
they had myself.
Even though it's applied to the entire domain.
Yeah, that's the one I had a bad course, and I lost that.
Evaluators, like so cybersecurity evaluators.
Screenshot that or
So that we could
email.
kind of do an official, like, legit audit.
He doesn't do that, so it's the first minute now, what, so he's still.
So that will be rolled out.
The hospital.
We need to find a baseline.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, hey.
That's it.
Cyber security maturity standards across the state. That way we can push back on maybe some of the things that we're going to do, but hey, well, we can't do that because half the schools are at this level, and we can hear before we talk about what we're doing, so we're trying to get that done.
That's why I keep working.
You know, that security health check is just like a, 2-day thing.
I don't know, it's.
Week or 3 days, they go especially Google, but Google's probably the most active thing I do. It is, yeah, I mean, really think about it, especially
Forgot
if you're a
what
smaller
was
school like her. That's how they're getting in, like, she's got your own firewall, right? She's just saying firewall, she has the web server, she's not doing this stuff, so if she were to get compromised, it's probably from a user clicking on the link, you know? That's where that's happening.
Okay, and I know that we had talked before and we went in there and we did a couple of things in my Google admin for my email. But I still have Yes, she's
So-
still getting those,
So you have your own domain, right?
yes.
Okay, so we did your
Yeah.
SPF DKB mark in that domain of GoDaddy, but I don't know if we did it in your K12.ar.us, because that needs to be in both places.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
so
I
that
don't
might
think
be, so we'll check on that.
Okay,
Yeah, that's another thing, by the way, that security health check, we'll do that, as we set up email authentication, and also do a firewall audit, just to see if, there's rules in there that should be in there.
Okay.
To open that to us.
okay,
Yeah, it's a 2-day thing, but,
okay, okay.
we'll definitely take a look at that.
Let's throw favorite bar.
For email, right?
Pretty sure that's the exact same article on the back end.
I'm not seen schools to that yet. Right now you need Azure, so if you have an Azure environment, you can do that. Most schools have not moved to Azure yet, so if you have a traditional AD. Yeah, so you can't do two-factor, visa like the Microsoft Authenticator. No, that's not, usually when it's about two-factor, you're talking about email. That's the standard right now, and eventually we'll get to where so they're connected devices. But currently, that's
Certain things, as they put in, they're gonna run a check. It's gonna have to run an
yeah, that's the ask questions.
Oh, that was hard.
Yeah.
So where did you get to that?
Like Robert or somebody.
I think me and Josh will have one of the other people on Thursday.
Yeah, that's something that.
Oh, is that really what I said?
I got that.
Or it's at an Irish girl firewall.
Figure is not really individual workstation. Ladder on your software policy. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Long time ago, when they set up EIS setup servers and stuff, because they were all.
Hey, Josh, I sent you that email
They
too,
just-
about the restricting users from adding computers.
And now they're saying, set the firewall on, poke the holes in it as needed.
Yeah, but if you look at our documentation on our website, even our newest server documentation says to turn it on.
Oh, still?
It still says it. It drives me crazy. Yeah, it still
But
says it.
what do you want to set it? Turn
Then you turn on.
Turn on.
Turn on. Yeah. Well, because that document just gets reworked as a new server version comes out, so it gets left in there.
So what I'm hearing is you need to rework the next time.
Yes. Yeah, that's the
What?
problem. If you complain about stuff like that, all of a sudden it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's funny. So Chrissy taught the past 2 years a class, and it was called threat hunting. And it would bug me to death. It was really a great class, but it was called threat hunting, and it was really digital forensics. And I kept saying that, like, there should be digital forensics. And she's like, well, I guess you're going to teach it now. So now I didn't teach it. It's like, I was being a,
Open your mouth.
I was going out, and I didn't have to make a correction.
Well,
You know, so much about
sometimes
it,
if
you
you
can
don't,
teach it.
if you don't open your mouth, you end up with a job too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't all have your door.
We've got a
Yeah, exactly.
department head meeting.
Yeah.
Well, right now, with the district, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna come out of it with a job that I volunteered for.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm at the most overworked man in K-12. Like I know a lot of us think, hey, I'm a bus driver, I can teach, I'm a tech director. Like this guy was a teacher, the offensive coordinator for football, head baseball coach, SRO, the tech coordinator, and a bus driver. 6 different positions. No, yeah, see, he was for Mountain High. Oh, Joey Olsen. New guy, Mountain High. They're a smaller school. Yeah, I think maybe. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but line, yeah, they're learning all those. Yeah, he's the SRO.
Fix 20
Yeah,
comments.